Hi, thank you for joining us today to learn about reasonable accommodations and modifications and how to process the request. You can find the documents on the FTC homepage under Residents and Accommodations and Modifications. It is an 8-page packet and you will need the full packet of 8 pages. There's additional information as well in your operations manual, and you can always refer to your regional property manager for additional questions. The first 2 pages of the packet is the information for your resident to let them know what the accommodation process looks like, what the acceptable things are for modifications, as well as letting them know what the process is going to be, that we do contact medical providers, and that we will give them a follow-up every 10 days. Pages 3 and 4 are for your resident to complete, so you only need to provide pages 1 through 4 to your resident. Pages 5 through 8 are not for the resident to handle. So page 3 is going to be the resident completing what their request is. What is it they are requesting, what the accommodation or modification is to their home that they're asking for, and then what the purpose is. And then on page 4, they're going to give us their medical provider's information. You will see that it does begin to address the medical provider just below that, because this page, page 4, along with page 5, is going to be mailed to their medical provider. This page 5 is for the medical provider to complete and to send back to us. So pages 4 and 5, you will need to send via certified mail. So you will have to make a quick trip to the post office. Make sure that you bring back that certified slip and attach it to your paperwork for the resident file. On the bottom here in the yellow, you will provide your office information. Make sure that you do include a spot for email. Telephone is already on here, address, because you do want them to be able to return it to you as quick as possible. And you can receive it back from them in any form, so long as you are submitting it to them via certified mail. Now, pages 6 and 7, these are the follow-up pages that need to be sent to the resident. This lets them know the status of their request. So it lets them know once it's fully complete, what if they are approved, if they're declined, or just gives them an in-process update, letting them know it's still delayed because we're waiting for your medical provider. It's being delayed. It is awaiting senior management approval, whatever the case may be. And then you can put your contact information on the bottom so they know how to reach out to you if they have any questions on the process. Page 8 is your processing worksheet. So this is where you will document the steps of each part of the process. So beginning with step 1, when your resident first comes in and asks questions about the accommodation or modification, and you give them the first part, which is the pages 1 through 4, which are the only pages they'll receive. So when you do distribute those pages to them, you do want to document under step 1 here the date that you did have that conversation and give them the documentation. Step 2, you're going to document the date that they did return those forms to you. That's going to start the clock ticking for your 10-day response time. Now, step 3 is observation. If their need is readily apparent, then you do want to select yes, and at that point you do not need to contact the medical provider to receive verification. However, if it is not visible, then you will go ahead and select no, and you will send out those forms, page 4 and 5, via certified mail to the medical provider. Now, step 4 is the verification that you did mail out the information to the medical provider via certified mail. So you will make sure that you date here what day you did mail, put that in the mail. Make sure you keep that certification receipt and you attach it to the form here. Now, step 5, you're not going to fill out until you have received your regional manager approval. So once your regional manager has reviewed everything, you have all the documentation back from the medical provider, and your regional manager signs off on the form, that same day, you must go ahead and send your final 10-day follow-up to the resident to let them know of the status, that it was approved or it was declined or it was conditionally approved, and you want to go ahead and put that date here. Make sure that you keep track of all of your 10-day follow-ups here in the note section. So every time you're sending that 10-day follow-up, then go ahead and add a note onto the worksheet here with the date that you sent it. This will give your regional manager a nice clean snapshot that you are following the proper procedures for the resident. So as just a quick summary, your residents are only receiving the first 4 pages when they submit the request. Make sure that when they do return those papers to you, you send a quick email to your your regional manager, and you let them know that you have received a request for an accommodation. That way they know on their next visit to follow up with you on that request. Make sure that pages 4 and 5 are sent via certified mail to the medical provider, and that every 10 days you're sending the resident pages 6 and 7 of follow-up until that final approval is signed by your regional property manager. If the request is for a companion pet of some sort, it's an accommodation related to a pet, and they have previously paid a deposit due to the pet and they were paying monthly pet fees, you will need to send after you receive your regional manager approval, the full 8-page packet, as well as the welcome to community for the resident. You will need to scan that and send that to computer support. Then computer support will process a refund of the security deposit due to the pet, as well as any pet fee that was paid from the very first day in step 1 that they came in and began putting in a request with you. They will process a check that will get delivered directly to your leasing office. You will have to hold that check in your office until the resident comes in to sign an updated lease agreement. The updated lease agreement is going to reflect their updated security deposit since they have been refunded the deposit they paid due to their pet. It will also show the removal of the pet fee from their monthly rental amount. So it's very important that you have that new lease signed before you can release that check to the resident. And now you have completed the entire process. Just be sure that if the medical provider did give you a time frame on the need for the accommodation, that you do follow up at the time of renewal with your regional manager to see if they want you to reconfirm with the medical provider that the need still exists. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.